Hello. So, yeah, that's not the new Maker Select I've got on the table today. It's my old Wanhao. Because I was actually getting ready to do the comparison video between the new Maker Select and the old Wanhao with all the mods. When I ran into a problem. I was printing this fleet or armada of benches, among other things. When the old printer here decided to start clogging a lot. And actually some of the print quality on some of these, I don't know if it want to focus on that. There's some imperfections, and actually I thought that the new Maker Select actually did it better in some cases. The red ones are the new one. Yeah. Anyway, what I think I need to do to this is give the whole extruder assembly here a thorough maintenance check. It needs a full service. So sorry, I'm just getting the tools here and dropping some tools. So what we're gonna do today is try and take this whole thing apart so we can see what's going on inside. But probably what needs to happen is I'll probably need to replace the PTFE tube inside of going from the cold to the hot end. I'll need to clean out the wheel that's actually pushing the filament in here. And I think you can actually tighten this spring thing here so you get a bit more tension onto that. The spring might be getting a bit old. And I would like to replace the nozzle, but I don't think I have a replacement handy that will actually fit on this printer. But that's I've had this printer for almost 2 years, and that's actually the original nozzle it's still using down here. We can't see it right now, but we will when we get it apart. That's actually the original nozzle, so that nozzle has done 2,000, 3,000 hours or something like that, I would estimate. So yeah, that could probably do with replacing. It still works, but you know, quality-wise, there's maybe some gains to be had by putting on a new one. So first thing we want to do is get this cooler out of the way. So we'll just do that. There it goes. Whoops. And we'll try to not lose too many screws here. That would be preferable. I did lose a... Where the hell did that go? There should be a little spacer there, which I can't find right now. It was down into there. Okay. And I'll just go... Oh right, I zip tied that on there, so can't really move it much further out of the way without doing that. We'll see. I'll try and see if we can avoid that. So that's step one. Step two, getting this thing apart. And then I need a larger bit here. So what you do, there's 2 screws here, actually pretty much holding the whole thing together. So we're gonna loosen those. And there's a spacer there, which almost fell into the base of the printer. That's not good. These long screws, they go all the way through here and into the stepper motor, and they just hold that whole thing together. So yeah, and now it's gonna come apart more or less here. Let's see if I can do this without, again, losing screws and stuff. That's the heatsink. that goes onto the cold end here. I've applied a little bit of thermal paste to make the cold end cooler, to help if you've got long retraction distances. The problem is if the cold end is not cold enough, then you will have melted plastic up there, and then you'll definitely have clogs. So I've tried to combat that a tiny bit with that. And now we can't maybe not quite get this off yet because we've got a bit of filament stuck in there. So what we should do now is turn the thing on and tell it to spit out that piece of filament. Oh, and I just have to plug it in here. That'll probably help. And now to get the hot end apart, we will need to heat it up anyway, so it's no big deal. Unload filament. And we don't need to watch that. I'll take a minute or two, so I'll just do a cut here. Okay, so it's up to temperature, but it's actually clogged so well I can't actually pull this piece of filament out. It's really stuck in there, so we're gonna have to use a bit of force here. Hopefully get it. God damn. What the hell is going on down there? It's really stuck. I can't believe it. What on earth is going on here? There it came apart. Holy crap. That was a bit more violent than I would have liked. And the filament actually snapped in here. See if I can get a shot of that. Can we get some focus? You see the white spot right in the middle here, that's actually a piece of filament stuck in the hot end. Anyways, we're gonna stop this. Now do remember that bit is hot right now. But what we can do here, we can disconnect the stepper motor here. And what I want to do is I want to clean out this wheel. If you look in the side here, you might be able to just about see it's got a white trail all around there. That's bits of plastic that has been chewing up. So we want to clean that out. Also, I actually thought we could tension this spring here, but it doesn't look like we can on this model. But it doesn't actually feel that bad, so I think if you just clean everything out here, it should be tight enough. It feels decently tight, actually. So, but to get to that wheel, we'll need to remove this plastic piece here. We'll do that by using this screw up here, which requires a smaller bit than I currently have on here. And is there a screw on the other side? Yeah, there is actually. That might be a problem to get to. I don't remember how much this whole thing comes apart here, so we'll just have to see. It's a long ass screw. But there we go. Oh, that came apart like that. Don't lose the spring. Then we've got this lever arm here with the roll in here. Could clean that out as well, but it looks fine. I want to clean this bit. Really, we're just gonna take, like, let me find a cotton swab, maybe a little bit of alcohol, and just clean that out. Yeah, be right back. Okay, so we've got our cotton swabs, some rubbing alcohol, and then we're just gonna have a bit of alcohol. Just clean this out, give it a turn. Do it lengthwise on these grooves here. We want to get in there and get that dirt out from there so it can grip a little bit better. Now if this was chewed up entirely, this wheel here, you could loosen that screw and you should be able to pull it off and put a new one on. But that doesn't seem to be the case here. Not really, but it does have a groove like right where the filament sits. Actually, it's got a tiny groove there. Just wondering if I could maybe, because it has some more give out here, so maybe I could loosen that, move it a little bit so it sit, you know, a couple of millimeters to either side instead of right in the groove where it's worn right now. I think I'm gonna try that. If I can get in there, we need to go smaller again on the bits. It's tightened so close to the actual motor here that it might be kind of hard. No, that went all right. So it's sitting there. So we're just gonna move it 2-3 millimeters. 1 or 2 millimeters really. Not a whole lot. Just a tiny bit. Tighten it up again. And now it should run along a new groove and give us a little bit better traction. Okay, so now we come to the hot stuff. I'll just put away this alcohol. Don't want to be sniffing that. If I can avoid it. So we need the hot end to be hot, both because these things actually lock together really tightly down in the heat block down here, which we can barely see. If you screw things into this heat block while it's hot, and then when it cools down, it locks into place, so you can't actually really get it apart when it's cold. But what we can do, we can pull it off the heat break up here. If I can find the right bit. So there's a screw in here. Should be able to loosen that. Although if that's put in there while it was hot, then it might be, no, that's good. So we loosen that. And now this may still be hot from when I heated it up before, so I'm just gonna carefully use some tools to try and pull this out. Just, it's kind of a crabby thing to use, but so we've got it out now. So I think I'm gonna move the printer around so you can see a little bit better here. So there's the thing. Now we don't want it touching. We're gonna heat this a lot, so we don't want this touching anything. And I don't remember if just have to check something here. because this top part seems like it's screwed in somehow. Got the thermistor in there. Just wonder if I can drop this. See how hot it is. Yeah, it's not too bad. How do we do this? There's something holding this piece in. There's the screw over here, but that holds in the thermistor as well. But I don't know if it goes in and also pushes on that. One moment, I know I have another assembly somewhere where I can actually kind of cheat. If it's the same one, I'm not sure. It might be for some nozzles. I had some nozzles that yeah, no, that's with the screws. What we could do is replace the whole damn thing, actually. But no, I don't want to do that. Just maintain it. Just replacing stuff is that's cheating, kind of, unless they are actually broken. And this thing isn't yet. Might be when I'm done with it, but not yet. So, what I want to do here is first of all, I want to get this fan out of the way, so I probably need to remove this zip tie here. Otherwise, yeah, and so we can just kind of put this over on the other side so it won't get melted, because now we need to heat this. And so, since there's plastic stuck in there, we probably need to heat it to, well, the melting point of the PLA that's in there, and that's 200 degrees. We could use the filament thing we have. Yeah, that's probably the easiest, just the load-unload filament. But what you can do in these printers, there isn't an obvious way to adjust temperature and stuff while you're not printing anything, but you can go into the printing menu and the depth menu here, and then you can actually adjust everything here. So you can actually tell it, I want E80, that's the extruder. I want that. Just takes a long time because you have to hold in this button to adjust it. So we're gonna go to 200 degrees, 210 maybe even, because it will stuck really well in there on that PLA. So, yeah, 210. Okay. Now it should heat. Yeah, that goes. So that thing we have floating up in mid-air here, yeah, that's gonna get really hot. So be careful. But yeah, I'm gonna make another cut here and wait till this is actually hot. And we're up to 210 degrees Celsius here on the hot end, so be careful. Now, it would be easy if we had a, let's just be careful. Whoa. Now it would be easiest if I had a socket that fit that. That's, I don't know the exact dimensions, but my socket wrench, socket driver set has gone missing. I know I bought one like 10 years ago. Never really used it, but I haven't seen it in years, and no clue where it went. I don't think I lent it out or anything. I just think, so usually I don't do that with my tools. You know, if somebody wants to borrow something, I usually offer just to come over and help them doing it and bring my tools back so I don't lose anything. But in this case, I think it just got lost in a move or something. You know, I've moved 2 or 3 times since I bought that set, so I think it just got left behind somewhere. Anyway, what we don't want to do here, this is a bit tricky, especially if you haven't got the right tools for it. We want to pick this up, get a good grip, but without actually damaging the wires that's on the side here. Gotta be a bit careful about that, because then you'll have to maybe replace the thermistor or the heating cartridge. And then we can get onto this down here. Oh, I have to adjust this again. It's too loose, could grip that. Yeah, and this is fiddly, because, like I said, you have to do it while it's hot, which complicates matters quite a lot. And the C-brace mod here on my printer is getting in the way as well. But I've got a grip. Let's see if we can get this to turn. Either way, come on, just move. But nope. Hotend says no. So, god damn, drop my mic again. Gotta figure out a way to hide this cable here. It's just way too long for what I need actually. So it ends up on the floor, and I step on it and I drop it. Usually I actually do this while it's in here, but because we've got it all apart this time, then yeah, makes things a little bit more complicated to work with. Because usually it's just held in place by that, but not today. So yeah, that won't work. And it's just about getting a good grip. And man, it's kind of tough. Are you moving? No, you're not. Bitch. Okay, we're just rounding the knot right now. Gotta get a different tool for this. A new, saw, like, what is it called? A monkey wrench maybe? Around here somewhere. Recently. Yeah. Where the hell did that go? So we've got a big box of random crap here. Let's see if I put it in here. That's a nope. So I'll just have to pause for a moment here until I find some more tools. One moment. So, disaster. I was trying to get this apart. Saw a small spark over here, and the printer turned off and back on again, so maybe it still works, but I might have killed something. Have a go and see. There's definitely a short of some sort, which means we might have to start replacing stuff. Hopefully it didn't damage the actual board. If that's the case, then we're in trouble. Let's see. Look down at the monitor here. The thermistor still works. But what happens if I tell it to heat the hot end? That's the real question here. But there did seem to be some sort of protection. It just cut out immediately. But I don't know if that maybe tripped the fuse or something else broke. No, it seems to still work. Well, maybe the heating cartridge doesn't work, but it doesn't seem to have killed the printer at least. Okay. Gonna try something else here. It's too hard to work with it like this. It's just too jammed too much together. I can't get a grip on it, so I need to remove that from the actual printer, and we're gonna do something else here. I think gonna heat it somewhere in another way, basically. So I'll change my setup here in a bit, and then I'll be back. So success, kind of. Instead of grabbing the heating block, which has major wires going into it and needs to be hot so they're on, I grabbed the little tube that goes up to the heat break here. That might still be hot. It has some grooves here, so I could grab those and grab the nozzle on the other side, and then, well, something had to give. And this came off, so now I can get into the tube at least. It's still hot until I get this PTFE tube out of here. So hopefully I can pull this out. Yeah, there we go. So as we can see, if we can focus, you may be able to see there's a piece of plastic stuck in that, and it's kind of burned on the bottom here. So, but it doesn't actually look as bad as some tubes I've pulled out in the past. But we're gonna replace that. Now we're gonna check to see if the nozzle is clogged as well, or if it's just in the tube. So I'm gonna grab this gently. I'm gonna take this tool that comes with this printer. Just gonna jam that in there and have it. If there's any plastic stuck in there, I'm gonna try and push it out the nozzle. There is some gunk down there, so that's why I would really like to replace this nozzle here. See this black stuff down there, and I was printing white PLA on this when I used it, so I'd very much like to replace that, but right now I haven't got a replacement for it. See if we can get this gunk off here. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, to be honest. There's still a lot of gunk down there. I did try cleaning this with this tool, and I noticed that came out some of this black gunk as well. What might have happened, and now the insulation of this heat block is actually breaking up as well. I could do replacing as well. But what might have happened is if I didn't have the correct length of PTFE tube in there, could have been sitting a little bit high from the bottom of the nozzle, and then plastic could have accumulated there. All the plastic getting pushed through would just go through, but that will just sit there and cook and cook and cook for days and hours. So that could be an issue. But so what we're gonna do? Well, we can buy these lengths of PTFE tube, which I have somewhere. So you can buy these spools. You know, this was probably original a meter or two. You can buy those and just cut your own lengths. Now, since I just bought the Maker Select Plus, it came with a replacement tube here. So we can just put that in there. So I don't have to cut it. And we'll just check the tube I pulled out. Is it short? Yeah, it's maybe a millimeter short. That could be enough to do that, make that problem happen. We're gonna try and put in this one here. Just get it. And that can be a bit tricky. Getting that in there seems a bit reluctant to go into the nozzle right now. Does it really not go any further? I'm pretty sure it should go further than that. So I'm just going to make sure it's actually round. Maybe just trim like a tiny scrape off the edge here to help it go in there. Like, we don't want to actually cut the tube as such, we just want to scrape off like 1/10 of a millimeter or less around the edge here. I don't know if that's even possible. I've never tried this. Usually don't have this much trouble getting it all together. You can see this should be cold now. I mean, this looks fine. There isn't any gunk stuck between the nozzle and the heat break here. But it should go in here. Yeah, it's a tight fit. But like that. And then the rest should be able to disappear into the nozzle there, but didn't really seem to want to do that. I don't know. I could cool it down. Should still be able to push this in, maybe. I think. Even though it's not hot. Yeah, because that's not going in there, and I don't dare use much more force while it's sitting at 200 degrees. So we are going to tell it to, I think the quickest way to do that is just to shut it off. Turn it back on. And then I'm gonna wait for this to get down to somewhere where I can touch it, 40-50 degrees. And then we'll see if we can get that tube in there. So I'll be back. So I managed to get it in there with a lot of fiddling and a bit of force. It eventually went in. I've heated it back up to try see if we can actually screw in this thing, because, well, while I was what's the word? While it was cool, I couldn't actually screw this in. It was, well, to be expected. Just want to see if we can get this to catch the thread in there. Come on. Just need to catch the thread. Don't know if it's done it yet. Nope, I don't think so. Okay, let's just try cleaning this out. If there's anything stuck in there, it means we can't actually push this all together. Just gonna do a little one of those. Maybe there was something. Just, Jesus Christ, this is fiddly. The main problem is you have to do it while it's hot. It's just a pain in the ass. I think we're onto something here. No? Nope. So now it's bag apart, so I can't. I really prefer it if it was the nozzle. It's a bit easier to get in usually. I'm just wondering, am I going the wrong way about this? Is this a reverse thread or something? Let's just have a close look here. Where does the thread start? So, no, it goes that way up. It should be going the right way, I think. But god damn, it just don't want to go in. At all. Does not want to catch the thread in there. And I'm not really sure why. Now it's going in further. I think I got the thread. Finally. It's starting to be a bit tougher to move. I'm getting close. This is a pain in the ass to do. God damn. So that's one of the reasons why I usually don't have this all the way apart. It's just a pain in the ass to work with. Now, if I had some socket wrenches, some socket wrenches, it would be a little bit easier. Okay, so that's it. It doesn't go any further. Just check that this goes through. Yeah, I don't feel any major resistance. Seems to go to the... Sounds like I'm hitting the nozzle mill at the end there. So now we can stop working with it while it's hot. So I can actually cool it down again. Put it all back together and hope that it works, basically. Also, I did remove the insulation around the heat block there. It's not strictly necessary, it just means that it will use a little bit less power because it's not getting cooled as much. Especially when we've got the part cooling on and stuff. But it should still work. You should do a new pit tune on it to get it dialed in, but it should still work without that. And I think I might replace the sock or the insulation, and I think I have something somewhere for that. At least I know I've got the Captain tape. It's on the outside. I should be able to find some sort of insulation material. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait for this to cool down, and then we're gonna put it back together and test if it's actually able to push some filament. So be right back again. Okay, so we are getting close to being cool enough here. Get down to 57 degrees, 56, so it's almost at a point where I want to touch it. Yeah, I can touch it. So we're going to turn this off, put it all back together. Just going to zoom out a little bit here. So we want to put, first of all, I'm going to stick this bag up here. Just going to set it right there so it's pretty much flush with the heatsink here. We're gonna take our driver here, and this is probably not the right size. I'm guessing, no, it is. Success. Line it up so it's pointing, it's fairly straight down there. So that's on. And we're gonna get this back together. If I can find, there's the spring in my thing. That goes on like so. And we just gotta push the spring in here. So that goes like that, and this should line up here. And then it's still the right driver. I seem to remember changing drivers quite a lot. Seems like if I can get this in the hole, I think we got it now. So we'll tighten that up. It goes quite deep in there, apparently. Don't want to over tighten it, but so that's working. We got a little bit. Yeah, that's dried out. There's a bit of thermal compound on there. Now comes the kind of tricky part here, getting this all back together in one piece, because you've got to hold it all at once while assembling it, because this has to go like so, and we've got to get some spacers in here, and this is so fiddly. And then these long screws. So I'm going to try and get this all the way through here. So that's one side. Gotta get the other side as well. See if we can do it. That's through there. Gotta find the hole there. And then we gotta get this all the way through these holes here, and that, don't squeeze that cable. Let's move the cable out of the way if we can. Can't quite get to it. Just push it here. There we go. And then we get the stepper onto here. Should be able to screw it all together now. And now I have to change bits while one-handed. So that's catching, that's good. This is catching, so just tighten this up. Not too tight, we've got some plastic and stuff in here, so we want it all tight together, but not, so don't over tighten these, because those plastic parts, and if you just tighten this as hard as you can, yeah, you will break something. You reconnect the stepper motor. Then we just need to put on a cooling fan here, like so. Now see, I've got that twisted around there. I didn't really want that. I don't think it's a problem. No. But it will be dragging, but it's a smooth rod, so I don't think it's gonna wear through the insulation on the cable or anything. So I'm gonna leave it. And this again is a little bit fiddly getting this on, because I want a spacer in here. Otherwise it sits a bit too high. If we can just get this all together. And again, it's the right bit, it seems. Or is it? No, it isn't. So we've got to go back to the smaller bit here. These aren't the original screws, so I think it would have been the right bit if they were original. We're gonna try that again. So we can line everything up. I can't see too much here. I'm gonna try and move my arm out of the way. I just want this to grip on this side, so I have room to get this together over here. Oh fuck. Drop the screw. There we go. Yep. I'm not gonna tighten it completely. I'm just gonna make it kind of tight. Because there's some grooves up here in these holes. You can actually twist this. Oops. Slightly. So I just want to get down here and see that it looks like it's roughly in the center of the cooler here. Touching I think I need to twist it so it's as fast this way as possible, and then out here, maybe not all the way out. No, that's not too bad. Just half a millimeter in the other direction. And I think that's it. We should be good to go. So I'm just going to take the rest of the sample filament that I got with the Maker Select. I'm going to turn it on. Just going to trim the end here. I'm gonna stick this in here. That goes down nice and easy. Tool, filament, load filament. So now it's heating, and I'm gonna see if we can get a slightly better angle on this so we can see when it comes out the nozzle. I have to lower my tripod. I'll just do that while we wait. Getting all the way down here. So now we can get a shot of the nozzle, I think. If we can get focus. Well, it's focusing on something, but not the right thing. Well, let's move it up there. See. Still not the right focus, dude. Dude. There we go. Yes. So we should, when it's heated, it's up to 130 now. So like 20 more seconds. We should see it pushing out something. At least we'll fix the clock, but hopefully we'll also be some way off before it clocks again. Now what I think happened here is what was happening was when the clock happened, it was doing a lot of retraction within a small area. So what I'm going to do in my slice, I'm just going to trim the retraction settings. So right now it's doing 10 millimeters of retraction, because you're going to trim that down to 9 millimeters. Because looking at this, the clock happened like halfway up this thing, maybe. It's kind of hard to see, I'm just looking at it. Yes, somewhere near the top, so maybe it's pulling melted filament up into the cold end, where it's becomes, and we see it extruding, where it then becomes solidified, and then it tries to push it down again, and then it, yeah, even though you've got a PTFE tube, then it won't have the right dimensions and stuff, so it'll sometimes get stuck. So I'm going to trim my retraction settings so I'm not pulling as far back and have less of a risk of pulling melted filament into the cold end and having it solidify before it starts extruding again. So that seems to be working. So I'm gonna put it back in its spot, and we're gonna do another bench use, because why not? So be right back. So the printer is now back in its spot. It's loaded up with some, let's just see if we can get that, some white PLA up on top there. I'm gonna print another benchy, because, well, why not? And when this is a bit high up, so when this tripod is a little bit wobbly, let's just go ahead and print. Can you see? Still heating the bed, so it'll be a little while. But I did extrude a fair amount of PLA. Let's just clean up the nozzle here. Take most of it off. So it has too much of a mess when it starts printing. You see the bed is up to temperature. The nozzle is heating to 190. Running a bed at 60. Actually, I've been experimenting quite a bit with printing PLA with the bed off lately. Mainly because I was having some cooling issues with some specific prints. It's also why I have that big fan you can see just to the left of the picture. Blowing extra air and turning the bed off and doing everything to add extra cooling, because that really seems like it's a key to a lot of things when it comes to PLA printing. It's just cooling the damn stuff hard enough, or fast enough, so it solidifies where you want it. Especially if you want to try and do stuff where there isn't a lot of supports. Because alternatively, you'll have to add a ton of supports to some things, but yeah, you can just print steeper angles and stuff when you have a lot of cooling. But anyway, we're doing this with the bed on, and I can see it's almost ready to start, and it's drooling a little bit. So I'll just try and catch that. So we don't fuck up the first layer. I think there's a brim on this anyway. You don't usually print benchy with a brim, but yeah. Kind of fucked up the slicing. I didn't think about it, just used the standard profile I had. But that seems to work. So we'll let it do its thing, and hopefully we won't clog it this time. This exact print clogged it when it come up to building the little housing on the benchy boat. It has to retract when it goes between each pillars when there's still windows, and that's just a lot of retractions within not a lot of time and not a lot of filament if you go low layer heights, and that's when it clogged. So we'll see. I'll let it run, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So if you want to see me doing more things with 3D printers pretty poorly, like I did today, then hit that like and subscribe button. And otherwise, just have a nice life. And yeah, I'll add some bonus footage of the finished benchy when it's done at the end of this video, but it's not important, so you can click on if you want. Bye everybody. So I think I just didn't record when I was supposed to, but what happened was we got spaghetti, lots and lots of spaghetti. Yes, there we have it. Well, we definitely don't have an extrusion problem anymore. It's extruding just fine. What we do have though was bad bed adhesion. But that's probably my own fault, as I didn't really level the bed probably and all that before starting this print. I just set it off. But as far as the extruder goes, everything seems to be absolutely fine. Could still use a new nozzle, I think. There's a bit of curling when it leaves the nozzle and stuff like that, which is not ideal. But other than that, everything seems to be working fine. Then just need to get the bed level, and then I can get back to actually testing this printer versus the new Maker Select Plus printer. And that will hopefully be the next video, unless I run into more problems. Yeah, so I'll clean up this mess and get back to testing. So until then, take care everybody.